Well, how's it going, Tim?
Hey Chad, going pretty good. Football is here.
Football is here. It is here. We're back at it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to talk some Razorback sports. This year is going to be a little bit different that we've done in the past. Of course, in the past, we've came to you and we've talked to you about uh, the offense one week, the defense one week, and then we had game week where we broke down the team that we're playing. And I came down with COVID, moved to Fayetteville, all kinds of craziness been going on, and so I'll take the blunt of the blame on this. It's just going to be this podcast. Hey, we're going to start the season off, and we're going to take off with it and just do the best we can as we move forward. So,
Yeah, at least one thing with us kind of being a little different start to the season. At least that means Chad, you're up in the Ozarks, so we'll be able to do more things than we haven't done in the last couple of years, as far as um, live broadcast together, be in the same room, doing some things. Even if it's just little clips we can play live from games that we attend. I think it's just going to be exciting. There's a lot of good things on the horizon. Um, but that part of it's not good. I'm glad you're recovering.
yeah, and
And I'm
it
yeah.
was a mess,
We,
man. It
we,
knocked me for a loop. I mean, it's probably the craziest thing that I've ever dealt with, and I just hats off to everybody else that's had to deal with it, and uh, one of those, it's just one of those things that you know you you just have to you just got to deal with it. You just kind of have to you know figure it out, and it's not easy, but it's something that I'm moving forward with. Thanks God I'm vaccinated. I couldn't imagine if I wasn't. I couldn't imagine what kind of craziness I would be dealing with right now. But to have something that'll put you down, even for the 2 days the way it does, and you're thinking, man, I just got to get over this, and then I'll be okay, and then and then next thing you know, you're looking at 9, 10 days, and you're you're just, it's not that you're totally out, but it's just you're not right, you know.
oh yeah, it's not a cold as some people, stupid people, used to claim, or even the flu for that matter. So, um, but
Yeah,
here we
yeah.
are. Speaking of, go ahead, Chad.
Oh, definitely not, definitely not. So, and then
I was gonna make.
go ahead.
I was about to say I was gonna make a terrible transition from that when you were like, just, trying to figure things out. And I was like, speaking of figuring things out, got some key guys we got to replace this year, and Cincinnati does too.
Well,
That
I
was a
mean, that's
terrible
not a
transition.
horrible. That's not a horrible transition. We do gotta figure things out, and I think that looking at Cincinnati and them is one way to do it. I mean, I do want to point out that, like, why the hell do we have John Gruden speaking at the quarterback or at the Little Rock touchdown club? I mean, that's just you know wasn't it? I mean, he was pretty racist. I mean, he had lost his job. It was text messages written down. I mean, it was pretty darn bad stuff. And I don't know what kind of message does that send. Inviting him up just right after that happens. And I don't know. I haven't heard any other media source talking about it, and it's something to think about.
Little Rock Touchdown Club, for the most part, I mean, they get some good guest interest. I know they started their season off with Sam Pittman. And they
Hmm.
just fall towards Gruden. Why do you want to hear from Gruden? Haven't you heard enough? Like, who wants to hear from Gruden anyways?
Yeah.
His race, I mean, just not even just. I mean, it wasn't just one thing. And also, he was terrible. The Raiders were better once they got rid of him. They're going to be solid this year.
Hmm.
It feels like he's the old hat. Like, why would you pay him probably pretty good money that he was desperate to get, because not a lot of places are wanting him to speak. Why? I just don't understand why somebody would want to
I
listen.
just
Like, why would you? I like David Bassel. I know he runs and stuff, probably, but like, why would he be the guy?
hmm
Maybe they got him for the cheap, or what? I mean, especially like the second week. Like,
It's
goodness,
just weird. It's
what does
just
that
weird.
say?
Yeah, I like Basil. Basil's done a lot of great things. He's brought us some good rivalries. Some good rivalry trophies, some things that other people wouldn't bring. He said something the other day that I thought was great, where he was talking about how we need to institute some of the captain things that they instituted at Ohio State. And this came from a touchdown club guest that was there and talking about, Ohio, or the Ohio, or whatever how the hell they say that up there, the Buckeyes, and how they bring in all their captains, and then they have them meet the new captains every year, and it's an ongoing thing. He said, we should do that. We haven't done nothing for our captains like that. I said, that's great, and it's things like that when you're hitting the nail on the head, it's a great thing. But you got to be careful who you bring into these, because look, recruits are looking at this, you know, uh, and I just don't want to paint the university in a bad light. I mean, we're already got to play Petrino, and you had that whole mess and everything that went down, and now you got, I don't know. I guess we're the only ones talking about it, so it really doesn't matter too much, but still.
Well, I mean, in Arkansas, the university doesn't have anything to. It's just a separate. Oh my gosh! Yeah, I just looked at this guy. Jesus, what a goofy guy this is. All right. Wow, it don't make any. Just didn't make any sense. Oh well.
Yeah,
What can you do?
yeah. And you bring in Houston Nutt every year to talk and things like that. You
Yeah.
bring in a lot of great people, to talk, and I just felt like that was a bad selection. And I've never came on here and said, "Hey, why'd they select this guy or that guy to talk?" Uh, but that's just I don't know. It's uh, just I don't care for it. I don't care for that selection. And if you know me,
Oh,
I was a huge Gruden fan, like, huge. Like, the guy took one of my teams to the Super Bowl. I've listened to most of his shows, watched a lot of his shows. We had the Ryan Mallett show when he brought him on his show and everything, and hyped us up. And he's done some great things, but you just can't overlook. You know, you can't overlook something that's that blatant. As blatant as he was. I just don't feel like you can overlook that.
have to agree with you.
Anyway, we can move forward from that. I just wanted to bring it
I was
up.
letting you stop. I had enough of it.
You got to bring up something just totally controversial on the first podcast, right? So
Oh yeah, we've hit on COVID and Gruden, so
maybe it's a COVID mind fog. That's what's causing it. Would we normally have this conversation? Yeah,
the end.
probably so.
Yeah, definitely would be in an episode. Would it be at the hour and 30 minute, hour and 45 mark, or first few minutes? Doesn't matter. We told you things are changing.
Hey, you got to jump right in. You got to jump right in and start offending everybody right away. I think.
Boy, yeah. Well, if they're not offended by us not caring for Gruden is racism and sexism, and probably don't need to be listening to the podcast.
Oh,
Anyway, could be the first time somebody tuned in. Hello, new listeners. Yeah.
they just tell us not to listen. Yeah, we might have. You take it and do what you will. We'll let Razorback Rich be the deciding factor.
Oh boy, that guy.
Yeah.
That'll bring everybody in. I'm not
Oh
sure
yeah.
what clientele that brings in, but
You know. It's a big
Well,
year for
hopefully,
us. This is, I think as far as like the state of the podcast goes, and you got to start, thinking about that. I think as far as that goes, um, it's a, it's a huge deal, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So
yeah, it is. That's why we're back. All these podcasts fall by the falling by the wayside.
hmm
In the last few years, everybody thinks it's easy to do one, and they last a couple weeks, maybe even one football season. They don't make it. We've lasted through Morris era, pandemic. Now we're getting to enjoy the fruits of our labors. The established podcast, we're just getting better at it. This is going to be the best year by far
hmm
of the podcast.
absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna be amazing. We just got to keep on keeping on with it. So, oh, just one second. I'll be right back.
If this is live, I'm sorry. Figure we are going to cut this part off.
No, we can't cut it off. No cutting it off.
Oh shit!
Gotta keep
It's
it
got
rolling.
fancier AirPods in. Oh my god! Oh, there he is.
I'll be right.
Back from the.
Hold on. I just gotta
All
do
right, I'll
something real
come
quick
up.
for the kiddo. She jumped up. So, hey, that's the only bad thing about the new house. There's nowhere to hide like the old one.
Well, that's probably why we'll get more live shots. Yeah, you need to hide. I guess you got to come over to the studio.
All right. Yeah, definitely. If I was over at your place, I could kind of hide out in the studio down there. But I don't have a studio here like I did at the old place. So
That's all good. You sound good. It's gonna be a good time. Well, I'm sorry I didn't feel I could have went through this. I got the game notes up, ready to rock and roll and talk about Cincinnati, and here I was just sitting here.
oh, it's okay. Here's the thing, man. Is what does this podcast start off as? Right? Did it start off as a podcast, be a perfect podcast? It's that you tune into, and everything is just exactly the way it's supposed to be. And they're cutting everything out that didn't go right, and they're trying to make all the sound exactly perfect and everything exactly right. No, it's just two guys on their telephones talking on the way home from work, and that's how this thing started. And it just kind of, snowballed from there. Yeah, now I have an expensive microphone and cameras, and we're on 3 or 4 different social media platforms. And, people are voting us to be the best podcast year in, year out, over and over again. That happens, all right? And that was an accident, but we're still giving it to you live and raw. You're getting it the way you get it, you're getting it the way it comes out of our mouths, and you're getting a true Razorback fan podcast that's not overproduced.
Oh no. Yeah, we fired Billy last year. If y'all remember, listeners from last year, we had Billy sitting in the corner. He got canned. I'm not gonna bring it up. But no producer again, which is fine. This is a fan podcast.
So let's talk about Cincinnati for a minute. All right, we're fixing to play Cincinnati. Uh, I don't respect them at all. I'm just gonna be honest. I know they played in the college football playoff not too long ago, and they made it there, I guess, before we did. And just got beat down by Alabama. Was it? Well, I don't know. Was it a beat down? What was it? 26 to something? 26-7 or something like that. I've
Yeah, I
heard
think
people
you're
say
right.
like, "Oh, they held them low." It's like, yeah.
Um,
Well, Bama does that. Sometimes Bama lets people think like these teams that aren't that hot held them low, and then they just demolished the next team. We've talked about that before in the past, and I can't say that I know that's a thing, but it's
It always is. That's why Saban comes out and does this thing about the rat poison and all this, and the media says, "Oh wow, they're really good," because you are really good. And Saban has to come up with creative ways to get them fired up. Yeah, it was 27-6. If you don't ever feel like, or maybe after, like, it's one thing to be in the game in the first quarter, but if there was no time in that game, or we were all talking about it, watching, just like, wow, Cincinnati's got a chance. It's like, no, I mean,
yeah.
I like them having a chance to be in the playoff, but beating beating Bama was a different story. And I know this is old news. It was well talked about last year, but how would the 2021 Arkansas team fare against uh, Temple and UCF, Navy, Tulane, Tulsa, USF, SMU, East Carolina, Houston of your conference? I mean, so
Yeah, I don't think you're losing those games. Yeah, I don't think you're losing them.
yeah, that's just going back to you saying don't really respect them. It's fine. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
hope
mean
they don't hurt like this weekend.
that's terrible, to say I don't respect the Bearcats and this, that, and other. But hell, I remember it's not too long ago when Cincinnati was scrapping for anything they could get a hold of. Just bringing
Yeah.
in all kinds of wild ass random coaches trying to turn things around. Hell, didn't they bring up uh,
See, I
Bobby's
know
brother
they.
up there? I thought for a little while to try to like
I
as an
don't know
OC.
about. As an OC, that I don't know. I know their past couple coaches have been definitely names. Tuberville was awful there. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
he was more off Texas Tech or there. He's a craphead, anyways. But I don't know if that's one where he he had a recruit or took a recruit out for dinner and he left him just like right in the middle of it. But anyway, they had Tuberville, Brian Kelly, Bush Jones, now Fickle, who's really good. He could get some better jobs out there, and I don't think it's just because Cincinnati is going to the Big 12. But I think he's just waiting around one day for that Ohio State job, his alma mater. But Luke Fickle's been really good. He's turned it up to another level. This is a really good, like, how many teams, let me go back to this. I'm going to say this. How many teams do you get to play that are named after the city? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? You don't get that every day.
Memphis.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I mean, there's some out there. I get it. but
not many.
but for the today, I guess maybe because they're not a name that it feels weird. But in our lives before the last few years, just never thought about Bearcat football. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was there? I can't name I've named off those couple coaches, but that's been the last decade, a decade and a half. I have no idea for that.
Well, I just remember them always trying to turn it around. I just remember
Yeah,
them always trying to get that program to the next level, and always trying to bring in a coach that you know was supposed to be the next big thing, and it seemed like it never worked out. Like they got close, but they just never were able to turn that program around. And I guess Fickle's been able to do it. He's been able to come in and turn the program around, and good for him.
yeah. I mean, it's on a
I mean,
boy.
54-22. I mean,
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would have taken being 54-22 our last.
no.
48-15 in 6 years. You want to take 48-15 the last 6 years at Arkansas?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd take 48-15.
But here's a guy that's trying to play these tricks of not naming the quarterback, just name the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're replacing Desmond Ritter who's playing for the Falcons right now in the NFL. He's got fifth-year guy that's been here, or he actually played was at Cincinnati the first 3 years, backed up Ritter, transferred to Eastern Michigan, had a solid 3,000 yards, all right, but only 14 touchdowns, and now he's back. And then they've also got a sophomore dual threat quarterback, Prather. But I mean, obviously, like, dude, just name your guy that's got all the experience
Mm-hmm.
as your quarterback. Who wants all these games? But whatever.
I mean, here's the thing too. What did Cincinnati do well the last couple of years that's put them in the spotlight position, and that's throwing the ball, throwing it all over the damn field. Their rushing attack's not that great. They have to come out and throw the ball heavy, or at least that's always been their team before. I'd be very surprised if we see anything different. And so, can SEC cornerbacks and linebackers take that away? Can our defensive backfield take away the pass, make them run the ball? We should be able to, and even if you got a quarterback like there's a dual threat, like you were saying, that can also run it around, maybe throw him in towards the end of the game. You see if he can, get some yardage on the ground. But we can absolutely not let them come out and open the ball up down the field. We can't let them throw a bunch of these short, dinky passes and move the ball down the field through the air. If we do that, we're going to get in trouble. If you watch this game, in the first couple of drives Cincinnati come out on, they're slinging it all over the place. You mark my words, it's going to be a close game in the end. But if we come out and shut that pass game down, I don't see it being a close game.
Yeah, and they're also replacing their man. They're just replacing so much from a good team last year, but
Mm-hmm.
replacing Ford, their leading rusher last year. 1,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, averaged about 100 a game. Oh, he had to run 215 attempts. Um, but I think they're replacing their top receiver too, Pierce. They're trying to fill in these gaps with transfers in that first year. But I see. I was watching the pregame show for Pittsburgh and West Virginia. You're talking about how it's going to be. They were really bragging on this game. If you want to see a smash mouth game, this is going to be it. Just physical. So Cincinnati on the defensive side is known for physicality, but I mean, what's this year's? This year's team is not last year's team for Cincinnati. And I know we've got guys to replace, but not as many. We've kind of looking over our two deep, which we'll get to later. Just loaded, just the whole starting lineups.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Here's guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look at their team, and one of the big things that we like to do is go through and look and see how many seniors do we got, how many sophomores do we got, how many freshmen do we got, right? And then we also like to look at size differentials. As a coach, I feel like that's one of the biggest things you can do to determine what kind of strategy and things you're going to have moving into the game. And we've had a lot of good luck looking at these uh, dynamics or these areas, and then determining what's going to happen in the game that's coming up. So you start looking, and you got a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors, a couple seniors, right? But you don't have, I think, like you said, quarterback position, you're looking at a senior, right? Running back, you got two seniors, a freshman and a sophomore. They got four running backs, but two of them are really fresh, and then one of them is then you got two seniors, and you start looking at their line, and you look at line play. You're looking at your left tackle, you got a senior, left guard, you got a senior, and then you go your center's a junior, senior right guard, and sophomore right tackle. So they got a pretty experienced line, but it's the where you see the experience start to drop off is when you start looking at your wide receivers, right? And which is like you said, or like we said before, it's what makes their team. That's what their team is anchored off of. You got juniors and seniors, tied ends. You got a couple seniors that tied in. I don't know if it's Leonard Taylor is going to be playing or whatnot, but he's there, right? And he might, maybe he'll see some time. I don't know, but you start looking at that and you say, well, what are they going to do? Well, they're probably going to try to run the ball. They're probably going to try to throw some short passes, those tight ends, and then open up those wide receivers down the field. Now, who knows? Maybe they come out and maybe they change their entire game plan that they've had for the past 3 years. But I doubt it because that's what's been working for them, right? They have figured out a way to tap the the skill players, right, and get in these skill players. I think that's where you've seen them shine. And that's what we're going to see again this year. When we start looking at their sizes, their line is definitely undersized, right? 308, 308, 305, 310, 6'4", 6'3". Got 265 guys, right? So their offensive line, while they have some seniors there, while they have the age there, they don't have the size. They definitely don't have the size that they're going to see against a line like ours.
Yeah, that's concerning for them, not for us.
Mm-hmm.
And also going back, like you're talking about, like you're rattling off. It's like, well, maybe I was wrong. They do kind of have a lot of experience like us too. Ours is, and I don't know Cincinnati as well, but we still have stars coming back, like KJ, Rocket, Dominic Johnson. The line is all experience. Bumper Pool and Catalan on defense. But let me just rattle off real quick, not to bore anybody, but this is 1, 2, 3, 9. They had 9 NFL draft picks last year. Sauce Gardner, 4th overall pick, cornerback. Brian Cook, SAF. Oh, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. Man, I'm sorry. I love football, and what the hell position is that? NFL. Anyways, Brian Cook went to the Chiefs. Desmond Ridder, quarterback. Kobe Bryant, cornerback. They lost both their cornerbacks to the NFL. Alec Pierce, wide receiver in the second round. They had a second round wide receiver. Sanders, an edge rusher in the third round. Jerome Ford, the running back, went in the 5th round. Defensive tackle, 6th round. Brooks, and then Darian Beavers, the linebacker. So now last year, Chad, they would definitely bring some heat to us, especially would have played them in the first game last year.
Yep.
Our first half against Rice went.
It'd have been a scarier game last year for sure with them loaded down. The running back is a nice big bruiser that got some yardage. Or now you're looking at 3 200-pound guys that are 5'11", right? It's just they're probably fast. They're probably shifty. They're probably quick. Everybody likes to talk about how quick their running backs are when they're slow. So, we'll see. We'll see. I don't see them having a big run game. Of course, we get to be the first game of the year, right? So, they could just come out and do whatever the hell they want. We don't know.
Well, nobody does. Nobody does. Everybody's, besides any team that's lost week 0 or about to lose here in a little bit, everybody's undefeated right now, and Cincinnati's feeling still pretty good. They're aware they got to replace stuff, but they're still got a program that's set up, so they're feeling confident. We have no idea what their strategy is going to be. This is always a weird, the preview, because we really have no idea. We're used to. I know there's seasons like years back where we opened the season with Auburn, USC. Some years back, but usually we're opening up, especially the last few years, Rice, Portland State, teams like that, where we're just like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because doesn't even matter, rattling off the starting lineup, because you know what should happen.
Exactly. Well, I mean, when you start looking at their defense, that's when you're like, I think that's when there's some room to be kind of like, oh, wow, this is a better crew. All right, you get almost entirely made up of seniors. Their defense is bringing back a lot of guys. You know, they got the defensive end Taylor. They got Briggs at tackle and Van at defensive end. You know, Thomas and Pace at outside linebacker. Hubbard, all of them seniors except for Thomas, and he's a sophomore. He's the only one that's not a senior in this situation. You know, you got your nickel out there. He's a junior, so you start to see a little bit of a drop off whenever you go into the when you go into the backfield. But other than that, their safeties are seniors, cornerbacks seniors. So I don't know. They got a good amount of experience coming back on defense, and that's where you gotta be able to take advantage of that. But what did the defense do last year? Right, it was one of the worst rushing defenses in the nation. I don't remember exactly what the numbers are. You probably got them right there in front of you, Tim. But they were one of the worst rushing defenses in the nation, and we were one of the best rushing defenses in the nation outside of the academy, the service academies and things like that who are running Wishbone, right?
Yep.
What were we, second, third in the SEC? I mean, are they going to
And
be able to
rush
stop
offense?
rushing offense?
Yeah. I need to find the exact, but we're pretty high with that. I mean, when we got a quarterback that had 600 yards rushing on top of kind of spreading it around to
Mm-hmm.
those, a couple of running backs. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's going to be hard for them to stop. That's going to be really hard. Now, I know we've got some. It doesn't mean I'm not saying the wide receiver group's not going to be good, but we've got some. We lose Burks after 3 years of him being the main guy. We're replacing him, but we do have a experienced quarterback, AJ, that knows how to. When he spread the ball. You look at last year's statistics, just spread the ball around outside of Burks.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys prove themselves, but I just feel like it's going to be a big game, especially with this line. Like you were saying, they're undersized, both sides of the ball on the line, and we've got Wagner, Limmer, Stromberg, Latham, Luke Jones. These guys like Stromberg and Wagner that got thrown out there the freshman year. It's just been battling in SEC play. Wagner 6'9", 331, Stromberg 6'4", 313.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's just prepared first game fresh of the season to mow some guys over.
Yeah, so you're looking at here at their Russian defense, like I was saying, 149 yards per game they were giving up, and they were 58th in the FBS. Like and so you're gonna take on the 11th, or I'm sorry, the 9th, or I'm sorry, the 7th. I'm sorry, Arkansas, the 7th Russian offense in the nation with 227 yards per game average. Now you think about that. Like that's what we're putting up per average. Now we're going against somebody that's almost giving up our average per game. Now we should be able to just demolish them on the ground, especially with everybody coming back, having, like you said, having the off season, the lift, and get it stronger and just be faster and better. KJ is going to be better. His pass game is going to improve. He's going to come back with a hell of a passing game with Kendall Briles over his shoulder all summer long.
Yeah, and it's just been obvious to everything with AJ, the confidence and just knowing he's the guy. Like last year, you had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So he got some tutelage under Felipe Franks. He had one game starting against LSU, the national champions. Yeah, LSU that year. He had to go up against him. fared okay. Didn't just look completely, that was just amazing LSU team that year. But last year we really didn't know. Halfway through the first half, the dumbass portion of Razorback fans were saying, we need to put in Hornsby over uh, KJ, and KJ came out second half because he was not good that first half. He came out second half and was just on fire. The rest of the year, 20-something touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. He takes care of the ball. There's just no way he's not going to be really good this year. And on that rushing attack, I think Pittman, I don't know when he said it, but he said something about he wants KJ to rush more this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous game, but yeah, he's capable of it. Dangerous game with your starting quarterback, but he's man, and what I know it's been. I wait to see that. He might have some big runs like last year, just runs of like 60 yards and more, 50, just all over the place. Big runs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He can throw it around too.
So when we talk about Cincinnati, we talked about their offense, we talked about their defense. So let's look at their special teams, and say, hey, is there anything special in their special teams? Is there anything like we need to be worried about special team wise? Because right now we've pretty much said if we can stop the pass, we can come out and just run the ball down their throats. We can handle them. Is there anything on special teams, or is it going to be a surprise?
Well, let's see what we got here. Punter, Mason Fletcher, 6'7" Australian punter. All Australian punter. That's just kind of their player profiles they kind of highlight, and don't brag about a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this last night doing some research, but it didn't seem like they were just. I apologize. I'm trying not to find out. But yeah, there's nothing. I don't see anything really. It's just glaring.
6'7", 213 pounds. It's a big kicker.
Impressive. That's impressive. Yeah, there's no wow, this kicker's up for the Lou Groza Award, National Kicker of the Year or whatnot.
And it's not like their kickoff return or punt returners just been blowing it up, running it back every time they touch the ball either. They are seniors, so you are getting some, experience back there. But when's the last time you heard about Ryan Montgomery or Trey Tucker?
Yeah, Ryan Montgomery, like you're saying, he was the punt returner he's been the punt returner for the last 3 years. Not one touchdown. 9.6 average. He's got he's probably not Ted Long's of 30 and 25, 21. So he hadn't just broke off a big one. It doesn't look like he's the kick returner though. But just not really explosive for a guy that's for what they were last year. You would think a lot of times those not national championship, but they did not win the championship. But those really good teams, you see some guy just busting at least one time on special team. It's not seeing.
They'll be like, oh, you always got to watch such and such when you kick the ball off. Maybe it's not even a good idea to just kick it off to them. Maybe you should just squib it down the field. And those teams that come out, and especially the smaller teams that come out and make a good run for it, you see that a lot, right? And you're not, you're just not seeing that threat.
No, nearly at all.
That's not to say it might not be there, but it's not there now. If it occurs, that'd be a very Arkansas thing to happen. Is all of a sudden turns out their returner just turns out to be some sort of a wild beast this year, and been juicing all summer and just running it back every time he touches it.
And I'm sorry, Trey Tucker last year had a 99-yard touchdown kick return.
Ooh. So against Bama,
they've got didn't say. I doubt it. No, if they only scored 6 points, I guess 6. He could have returned it. That would be funny if that's what happened. It's like we know we watched the game. It's definitely watched it, but it's been a long time since New Year's Eve.
Oh goodness.
But the kicking, just last year, I know it could be different. Cole Smith, 5 out of 10 last year. Bates, 2 out of 5. Lowry, 2 out of 4. Who do they got listed as their Ryan Coe? Okay, Ryan Coe didn't kick for him last year, so really we have no idea the kick guy, not the field goals.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
That's
that's what
nobody
it
cares.
comes down to, love. We watch out against that offense. Don't let them throw the ball all over us. Run the ball as much as we can and just take advantage of what they give us. I think that's how you win any game, honestly. But that's an excellent game plan for this team, for what we know about them. Without having film or anything like that we can go back and dissect. That's an excellent game plan for this team.
It's a fun team to like. Better than just starting off with Portland State. That I mean, you're looking forward to because it's the kickoff to the year, but
Mm-hmm.
it's good to really kind of set the tone on the season. Our non-conference schedule, you know, is solid. You don't have a top 5 school because a lot of those are in the SEC anyways. You're going to play them, but
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Missouri State's interesting because Petrino, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Liberty, Hugh Freeze, and then BYU. You go to
If I hear
BYU.
somebody talk about how Liberty might beat us one more time, I swear to God, man, I'm
I
gonna
said
lose.
that.
I've heard several people say that. Several people.
They
That's one of the
questionable in
bad
there.
things about being back in Arkansas is you hear some things from fans and you're just like, "Are you serious? Does
It's
your
wild.
brain work?"
Well, one, we wouldn't have lost. We would have beat their ass last year. 2, they lost Malik Willis, the NFL quarterback, who was all they had last year. 3, Hugh Freeze, dickwad. Are these people? Are their human rights beliefs in question? Are they fans of liberty and that
They're probably just fans
fans
of,
want
you know,
free?
their coach, Freeze. That'd be my guess.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Weird to be a fan of Freeze. I don't know.
And
It just
an
Hugh.
Arkansas fan of Freeze too. I mean, like,
No, he's not an Arkansas fan. He's a fan.
so
We go to the.
look. Let's look at our offense, man. We better get off of Freeze. We're gonna have plenty of time.
We'll get there later.
On that guy.
Anyways, in the away game to BYU, that's a solid.
Low hanging fruit.
Offense.
All right, so look, let's take a look over at our offense real quick, and we know every one of these kids, right? You look at your wide receivers, you're looking at Warren Thompson and Jaden Wilson and Jaden Hasswood, Bryce Stevens Jones. I mean, Cole Harper. We got a really solid lineup of wide receivers. I think they said that we got 10 wide receivers on our. Is that right? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wide receivers on our depth chart right now, and that's pretty darn good. You don't usually see more than like 6 or 7, honestly, with most SEC teams. So that's gonna tell you right there that, and it's not like, oh well, we're keeping these guys because we don't know who's going to be good or who we just want to keep all of them and just throw them out there and see what happens and to see who's the best. Like, they're all good wide receivers, and that's the thing is we have a really good stable of wide receivers, and I don't know. I feel like we have, you got Sanders, you got Green, you got a stable of running backs too. And then hell, we got tight ends, man. We got Trey Knox, at tight end, and Hudson Henry. We got a good amount of. Oh wait, no, I was right. 11. Sorry, 11 wide receivers because we got Matt Landers, Jackson, and Mabake too. And it's like, who do we not know about? Who at wide receiver is the weakest link? And you got a few guys on there that we're not we don't know that much about, but we don't have a lot of guys on the team that we're guessing about. Most of them we know are going to be able to contribute, and we're going to be able to just rotate them in and out of the game, keep everybody nice and fresh, and just have a really good stable of wide receivers, along with a stable of running backs, and along with a tight end that's really good. That's probably our weakest depth right there, is that tight end. That's where we have the least amount of depth. And this is something we've been talking about for the past few years is, okay, well, now we got the players to win some games, but we don't have depth. And if somebody gets hurt and we can't, move forward, we don't have that depth. And now we're starting to see we have the depth. Not only do we have the players, we got the depth to back those players up at this point. And this is when you start seeing programs that are, mediocre programs, and they're clawing their way back out from the bottom like we are. Let's just be honest who we are, where we're at, right? This is where you start seeing them separate from the pack. This is where you start seeing them just beat the living dog car out of these little teams because they just can't keep up with the depth and the amount of bench that you have. And production from the bench.
That's going to be really, really interesting all the way around. Wide receiver crew, like you're saying, I have to agree. Like, and it's not even maybe they haven't had a chance because they just transferred to the first year. Like, these guys are proven they've played in big time college football. I mean, you go, of course, Warren Thompson. He did show he had some really good moments last year. He's going to take on a bigger role this year. Behind him, really highly touted receivers, and Wilson and McAdoo. We're gonna be able to get in the game on that depth chart. Like you're seeing, we heard about them. They're on there, so they're gonna get time too behind with these experienced guys like Thompson. Learn from them. Hazelwood, of course, was the number one receiver coming out of high school. Played at Oklahoma. I transferred over from there. We know he's talented, and he's looked good in practice. Seen some video of him, so he's going to be a big target for KJ. Bryce Stevens, heard all kinds of great things about him last year. Redshirted him, so he's got year. He's going to get some more playing time and see what he's got this year. And Isaiah Sategna from Fayetteville is really talented all the way around. And then even Matt Landers, so he's coming. Last year played at Toledo, but his first couple years in college he played at the University of Georgia, which is not a bad football program. Jackson. He had some good one of the leading returners from last year coming back. So that receiving crew is just wide variety. But look at those starters: Landers 6'5", Hazelwood 6'3" on Thompson. Like just height too. We're not just throwing. This is no offense against any 5'11", 6 foot, speedy receiver, but you're throwing out these guys that are just big bodied in college, growing in, that can go to the liquor store and get something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and yeah, and then you go and think like, okay, well, we got a line that's going to protect our quarterback. Can our line keep our quarterback out of trouble long enough to be able to throw the ball and get it to these receivers? And you're looking at Luke Jones, Latham, Strongberg, Lemur, Wagner. I mean, you're just looking at a plethora of experienced offensive linemen, all juniors and seniors. Everybody's, 327, 313, 331, 6'9", 6'5". The shortest guy on the team is 6'4", Stromberg, 313. But, I guess Latham is 307, which is surprising. I thought he was a little bigger than that. But, you always got St. John right there backing him up at 327 too. So.
Oh yeah, some big bodies and guys that, like kind of saying earlier, that was thrown out there because they had to. It's Pittman's first year. Stromberg has started since Morris was a coach. Just put him out there and he was not 313 then, smaller guy, but it held his own, just tough, just gritty guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just, man, that's great to have it. Our Razorbacks, we've had I mean, even, especially in this last 20 years, we've had a great run of centers, and Stromberg just continues that. So I just don't see how they're not going to be able to open up holes for the run game and then protect KJ. Like, just take care of him. Keep him healthy all year. Give him plenty of time to find these receivers. Doing it, man. Every time we do this preseason or anytime. I mean, we did it before games too. Just get excited, and it's legitimate. It's not some, you know, we got rid of Bielema, Morris. Maybe just new coach confidence then and stuff. Like, oh, maybe it'll be good. This is legit. Like, this is a program that, like, 9 games last year, and should have, like, very easy. 11 wins was right there for us with a couple of those losses, at least 10-win season. But I feel like this team's going to be better. We're ranked 20 to begin the season. This offense and that experience is a big reason why. And that offensive line keeping KJ healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's me, man.
Yeah, and here's the thing: you got to keep KJ healthy. I think that just can't be understated. I mean, what a monster he is. 6'3", 242 pounds, just can run the ball, throw the ball, just can do it all. And the entire offense is built around him, and you got to keep him. You got to keep him healthy. You got to keep him safe. You got Malik Hornsby who's backing him up, 6'2", 186 pounds, and it's just like you don't want to see KJ go down. Like, Malik next year might be his year. He might come out and just make some special things happen, right? But KJ has the opportunity he has the opportunity to win a Heisman Trophy if everything goes right.
Yeah.
If all the cards go in the right way and everything falls, all the dominoes fall the way they're supposed to fall, he has the opportunity to have the most special year we've seen in a very, very long time. So, you just got to keep him healthy. You got to keep him on the field, and everything revolves around him. If we lose him, it's going to be a tough year. And it's, that's just how
we don't want to. We don't want to worry about replacing him until next year. Get Malik. I do want to whip some opponents and go to get Malik in there. Last year he got out there and, like, obviously he's got some talent, but just was not ready. When he had to come in for KJ in that A&M game, and we just, he was doing everything he could, especially with those legs, doing everything he could to keep us in there. But it was just he wasn't ready for to extend our lead against A&M. Luckily, we were still held on for sure to win that game because the defense and was just fantastic. But there's been obviously good reports about him being better. Of course, I think he was in the transfer portal for a week or two or something. I mean, there was talks about him moving to receiver. This is not a down. It's just not this year. Next year. I hope he gets experience this year, and I think he's going to be solid for us next year. But KJ's, like you're saying, Heisman. Like, this ain't just blowing. I mean, he's got every right to be in the. Look, he's not going to put up 5,000 yards. Or somebody like in the Stroud for Ohio State in the Big Ten facing Indiana, Illinois, and teams like that. Rutgers, good Lord, Nebraska, goodness. He's facing teams like that. Somebody's going to put up gaudy numbers like KJ. He only throw for 8,000 yards. Be really good. Rush for another 800. But he's going to be the reason this team did really well. One of the reasons.
Yeah, one of the reasons, right? But I don't know. We're gonna see. We got linemen that can open up holes for him, get him down the field. We got wide receivers he can throw to, and I'm telling you, his passing game is going to be so much better than it was last year. I know everybody wants to lean on his running game and this, that, and other. We might see a situation where he don't have to run the ball that much, where he's throwing it more than he's running it. We might have we might have a Cam Newton situation on our hands. Like, he can run it, he can open it up if he wants to or needs to. They ain't gonna have to.
Yeah, like just like desperate to try something like designed for KJ. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be able to like, you know what? I'm gonna take off here 30 yards because I can. Oh, they're covering. They're playing.
What? They're going 4D?
This coverage on. Yeah, playing this coverage on us. You want to give me? I got the legs to run. Here we go.
And wait,
And I said,
I'm going to tell you this right now. We're playing a 3-3-4 defense against Cincinnati, and I should probably already mention this when we talked about Cincinnati's defense before. I'm all over the place right now. But anyway, we're playing a 3-3-4 defense, and they're going to have the opportunity to just tear them up. That's just a horrible defense play against any SEC team. We learned that the hard way the last couple years by trying that crap ourselves. And while we still use it from time to time, we got away from it pretty darn quick. We went to the 4-man front pretty quick with, I know. We got that, super duper defensive coordinator from Missouri, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, it does. Hey, it's less like was it last year or the first year of Odom? Is him whatever. I'm happy to see that 4-down lineman listed on the depth chart this year.
Yeah, well, I remember we had that. What was it? Yeah, first year of Odom, he came out with that 3-man front, and he, give him credit though, he didn't stick with it when it just was getting demolished. He made the changes and did what he had to do to get, a nickel in there and slide him down to the line and get somebody on the line, even though we were undersized at times.
Yeah.
I do think that we could have had a better red zone defense, maybe even a 5-man front. I don't think we ever went to that or saw that. We really didn't see a big, that big package at defense, which is, disappointing me. You get down within, 10-yard line, and I want to see a big package down there to try to stop these, power run games, especially in the SEC. But everybody's getting away from the power run. Well, hell, everybody's going to the pistol, and it's weird, man. Football.
I mean, yeah, that's the reason. Weird. Like you see on the on our depth chart, we got 4-down linemen, but only 2 list linebackers, and then you got 5 defensive backs. So I know though, Jaden Johnson. Jaden Johnson was going to be a linebacker. He looks great out there, but he's listed as one of the safeties.
Mm-hmm.
Use that nickelback slusher this year. But I do like the 4-down lineman. It's kind of going back before we get full on defense. Really exciting. I was trying to see like Rocket and AJ as freshmen last year. Just what they were doing. And then Dominic Johnson, of course, only 97 carries, but 600 yards, 6 yards on average, 7 touchdowns, led the team in rushing touchdowns. So, my God, what a 3-headed monster!
Yeah,
that we're going to get from these guys. Traylon Smith transfers out; he's at UTSA now. He saw the writing on the wall what AJ Green would bring, not being a freshman, and obviously Rocket is listed. I mean, Dominic Johnson even listed on the depth chart because you got a 3-headed monster. You know what I mean?
The only thing I got to say about that transfer leaving at the time he left is that's bullshit, and it's not his fault as a player. It's the NCAA's fault for letting the damn transfer protocol open up and take players after practice starts at the beginning of the year. That should not happen. When practice starts till the end of the year, you shouldn't be able to leave on the transfer protocol. You should be locked in. As soon as you have your first 2-a-days, you should be locked in with that team until the end of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, well, Traylon, I think he announced he's going to in January.
Oh, was it?
Or it entered the transfer portal in January. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking
UTSA.
I'm thinking of the junior college kid the defensive kid, and then somebody else that there was two guys that jumped in the portal right just like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Well, I try to ignore those guys. I don't think there was anybody big, though. There was a couple guys, Brooks Jr., I know Fouché. Fouché left
Mm-hmm.
too. But, of course, in the numbers game, we also got a couple like Landers at receiver, Landon Jackson, got him from LSU, 6'7", 274 defensive end. So,
And they asked
and
Pittman.
we got a starting linebacker from Alabama. That's cool too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they said he's contributed a lot. The Alabama guy, they were saying that he brought over a lot of the schemes and things like that, and he was like, just bringing some of the, intellectual property over to Arkansas, which is good, and just talking about this is how, this is how we did it there. This is how we would, attack this or that there, and I'll take it. I'll take it. I can get that from any other program, and to have a, player come in that has that ability to be able to, uh, think about football in that high level like that, and be able to transfer that knowledge to the other players. I mean, that shows you right there that you're going to get a really good player.
Yeah. I do kind of miss one of our transfers, Vito Calvaruso, our kickoff guy. Like one of our, we don't always have a kickoff guy that puts it in the end zone, and Vito always did that. Great name. He's at Wisconsin. I don't know what the heck, I guess maybe he's actually going to get the kick. He's not overtaking Cam Little for the kick spot, but just kind of looking at the transfers. This is Joe Fouché, good, and Greg Brooks, both going to LSU. What the? That pissed me off. Everybody else is going to like San Antonio, OBU, UCA, these Grambling State, a couple guys, and this guy, these two defensive backs. Lord, they got it coming.
Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Well, when we look at our defensive lineup, I mean, that's where you got another, plethora of good players. Of course, we don't have as much experience on the defensive side of the ball as we do on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of juniors, a few seniors, and we don't have just a ton. I would say it's down the middle, right? The experience level lies down the middle. It's not a very experienced team, and it's not an inexperienced team. They're guys that's been there long enough. They know what's going on. They know where everything is at, but they haven't been there long enough to where they're going to be playing maybe at a higher level that a more senior person might be playing at. I mean, we're going to see Bumper Pool come out and probably have the best year he's had. He's going to blow up this year. That's my prediction for Bumper. I think he's going to just have an amazing year. I think Zach Williams is going to have an amazing year this year. You're going to see Bishop, Catalan have a good year. Hudson Clark have a good year. Miles Slusher, he'll have a good year. Joshua Stewart. I mean, we got a lot of good players there, and they're backed up by some youth. So do we have the depth that we have on offense, on defense? No, we don't have that same amount of depth on defense as we do on offense, but we do have depth, with Malik Chavis and Trey Hampton and Landon Jackson, Jordan Dominique. We do have good backups there. They're just not maybe as experienced. So you're not going to see them. You're not going to be able to rotate them out, right? You're not going to be able to rotate defensive guys out as much as you'll see offensive guys rotating out. And you might have a situation where, if we keep them on the field too long, they get tired and worn out. And that you want to keep our offense on the field as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think with our running game we can because that starting lineup for Arkansas's defense is experienced. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's some guys. Um, so what we replaced are losing. Our leading tackler from last year, Bumper Pool, 125 tackles last year. Was healthy, played 13 games. It's a great year, and he can get 140, 150 tackles this year. Just be um, just even. I mean, he's looking like you're saying. I think he's just gonna be great, just solid all the way through. But after that, we lose the next 5 out of 6 on the tacklers. Grant Morgan, he, he stayed 6 years, just gave everything he got. Hayden Henry too from walk on, like just great solid linebackers. And
Mm-hmm.
then Fouché, of course, transferred, and then Monterey Brown, who left, the guy with 5 interceptions. But these next guys, and Catalan only played 6 games. Like he's a potential All-American guy, and our defense changed. Especially, I think that's kind of the um, reason a lot. Some of these games we kind of let go. If Catalan would have been there, maybe they don't make that big play um,
Mm-hmm.
back there. But Jashad Stewart looks, he played in 13 games last year. Gregory, he played in 13 games last year. A lot of experience. Nichols, I mean, I'm pretty sure he. Let's see. Nichols played 13 games. Zach Williams played in all the games. 3.5 sacks last year. Um, and also, like you're saying, back in Landon Jackson transfer from LSU, big old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Hampton, Cam Ball, and Jordan Dominic had 6 sacks, I think, for Georgia Tech or something like that. So he's had a lot of experience in the ACC playing teams like, uh, Clemson. And Bumper Pool, obviously, just so much experience coming back. Sanders from Alabama. Now maybe that's why we do that 4-2-5. We don't have a lot of. We just have not been able to catch up on linebacker depth. We just have
Mm-hmm.
not in a long time. We've had some. I mean, last year that was a good linebacker crew. Bumper Pool's been. We've been talking about him since he was a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Um,
we really have. And
and you
then
got. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you don't have a lot of size either. At our you know cornerbacks and safeties. Where you're looking at 5'10",
Yeah,
208.
both
The
safeties 5'10".
biggest guys you got out on even cornerbacks 6 foot. Biggest guy you got is 6'2", back
That's
there.
Hudson Clark.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's scary because um, that height was a big advantage for us last year. Where we were able to take advantage of some of these shorter, wide receivers and things that we were going up against. And this year you see more of us, more of a balanced look. So
Yeah, that's it.
I think looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. So let me see if I can get that going, and we will be right back with you. Looks like we got a little rain. Looks like we got a little rain going in our direction right now. So and the storms hit, kind of knocked out, our co-host here. But it is what it is. hold on. I'm going to get him. So we'll get him back through. We'll have him jump on his phone, and then hopefully we'll be able to close this thing out for the night. We have had a couple of technical issues, I guess, tonight. So little things that you learn, here and there as you move forward with these. Hey Tim, you still there? Okay, I see him popping back up. I think he should be back in.
Look, can you hear me?
Oh yeah. All right. There you are.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, yeah, you're back. You're back.
Oh, I can't hear you. What the heck? Hold on. Wait a minute. This is fun. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. No,
I can hear you.
That don't make any sense.
You're coming through really well right now. So maybe a little speaker button on the bottom of the phone there.
This is weird.
Anyway, it is what it is. Come on, we got to give our predictions tonight, so we just got to at least get you to jump on for that. So, all right, so let's see, what can we talk about here while we're waiting on Tim to pop back? Hey.
Hello.
I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah, I sure do.
Hell yeah. All right.
Sorry, everybody. Storms are in the area, and just all of a sudden, rolling on the podcast, and bam! I mean, it was only out for like a split second, but
power cool. Just gone. Well, I'm glad you was able to make it back, and we're up and rolling again. So, what a podcast! First podcast back of the year. Had a few hiccups, but
it's really good.
It hasn't been bad. I hear it thundering and lightning and carrying on outside. So if my power goes out, that's the end of it.
That wouldn't be bad. All right, what's your prediction? Real quick. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I missed the podcast. I missed, talking about what's the score prediction and stuff.
I could have done better too. Like whenever you jumped off and the power went out, and I just kind of, I'm not 100% because of the whole COVID and everything, and I'm just sitting here messing around. Then I realized I could have, just started talking about some facts, man, and just started throwing some, rando facts out there and stuff.
It does throw you off though. I mean, at least you didn't when you were taking care of the kids. You didn't just go blank and just what the heck. At least you were there and you had AirPods in too. I just disappeared and then the service on the phone living out by the lake ain't great. So, but I knew it was going to come back on. It was strange that I couldn't hear you. One thing for my microphone and video to be all right. There it is, kick back on. But that's just strange. It's a good sign. Right?
Strange. The whole thing's strange.
Good sign for the season. We never had a power outage like that during the Chad Morris era. I know that. So
yeah.
So
I don't know that we had kids. I don't know. We had kids come up and ask for things during the Chad Morris era. anything like that either. I think it was like those were pretty smooth, pretty aggressive, nasty, angry podcast.
And I hate to. I know. I remember during, and I'm doing it again. But again, this can turn people off. But during when Morris was first hired, I was like, we were talking about moving on from Bill, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to bring up Brett anymore. And then now it's like moved on. It's like I'm not going to say it anymore. But it was so like scarring that and even an appreciation of what Pittman's done, because it's like, let's go win the SEC this year. See what happens. So
you know there's a lot of fans out there asking right now. It's on the tip of their tongue. They're thinking this right now. Are we doing the Hog Call Fantasy Football League? And the answer to that is hell yeah, we are. If you follow us on social media, you would have had a chance to sign up for it. And if you didn't, you didn't. That's your tough luck. We got a full team this year. We did our draft last night, and we've seen a lot of folks talking a lot of trash during the draft and while we were drafting. I think you had Hogstradamus that said he's gonna win it all this year, and he's I guess he's angry that maybe he got unfairly scrutinized on the podcast last year, and he's coming for blood. He's coming to try to take advantage of everybody. You got Razorback Rich out there with what a wild ass name he's got, like Big Wiener Bandits or something like that. Just like it's always something inappropriate with that guy, right? Oh man. He's saying he's going. I can't hear a word you're saying. You're like on mute.
I don't know what's going on.
There you go.
Well, I wasn't on mute. I was flipping through. I was getting the fantasy thing ready.
That was weird.
That's weird.
You had something to say about Rich though. So what were you saying?
I say, like, when he comes on here, guys, listen to him. I don't care how crazy he sounds. This guy knows football. You can't win college football fantasy league against guys that watch a lot of, like everybody in the league watches, a lot of college football, and then, just get lucky with it. Now,
the guy makes some good points. He makes some good points. Just the aggressiveness that he makes those points with, and sometimes I just don't feel like he gives the coaching staff a fair shake. He definitely demands perfection.
He's a good Hog fan. I think he's a really good representation of an Arkansas fan. I mean,
yeah.
It
reminds me of, and I'm sure he's gonna get pissed off. But I'm sure we're gonna hear this on the next podcast. He'll be calling in next week. But he reminds me of that. Was it Tammy from Auburn? That was the super fan on the
Feinbaum
show.
He does, yeah.
It's kind of like he is a super fan.
Oh yeah. And I hope he calls in. I was really hoping just to get surprised. Like, how did he know? How did he know we were doing this? Usually, you can kind of guess.
Oh yeah. Well, he had some inside information last year. He called in at some different times, like while we were in the middle of the podcast.
You think Billy gave him while Billy was messing around back there in the corner, like while he was recording us, like he was just sending Rich the details?
Rich said he's from Protho Junction, I think, and I know a lot of guys down there in that, South Little Rock, East End of Little Rock area, he probably ran into somebody who's like, oh yeah, here's anyway.
And also going back to Hogstradamus, I know he's listening because he's a good hog call fan. But look, man, if I finish in last or whatever happened last year that's got you scarred, motivated, like, look, man, if I'm down at the bottom, I'm already down tonight. I have no idea. I'm down 32 to 4.8 already. A basket of carrots. Shout out to you, basket of carrots. Whipping my butt already. 2 hours into the college football fantasy season. So, D-Rock, I am taking, don't worry, I will make fun of myself if, oh goodness, Oxford-Thomas is already down 40-9. Hey, buddy. Can't escape it. You should have done a little bit more research. That's awful. You shouldn't base college fantasy on Thursday nights.
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
Number one team in the league. You got me excited about fantasy because we drafted last night. We had our biggest turnout of the Hog Call College Football Fantasy League. We're obviously the only Razorback podcast, maybe the only college football podcast that has a college football fantasy league. And I'm glad people are participating. Really, as soon as we jumped on there in the draft room last night, it was like, hey, let's call the Hogs. You know what I mean? Let's get it rolling. I was like, wow, guys, y'all are in here before me. Feel bad for running late as commissioner who's got a lot of responsibility for this league, but it's really exciting. There's just momentum. I guess people saw it on the social media and signed up. And I'm glad they did. I'm just so glad there's excitement for this fantasy league. And we'll see if Big Wiener Bandits, a.k.a. Razorback Rich, can defend his crown.
I've already came out strong today, and I don't anticipate losing after a showing like this. And now, of course, I'll flip on this Fresno game here in a minute and watch my quarterback run the score up even more. But it's probably going to be pretty embarrassing for the Kennesaw kickers or whatever. So.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, man, I was excited. I saw the late game tonight was Fresno. They're already up 7. Yeah, Nick Hayner, man, he was awesome last year. He was like, I remember him being, I don't know if he's a 5th or 6th year senior, but I thought he was a senior last year. That's really cool, man. That's a great pickup by you. Yeah, that minute, you got Mohammed Ibrahim. He's coming off the injury. Great pickup by you. Just already sets the tone. Yeah, that's just one guy that's got you up 28-0. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, they don't, they don't, when you look at it, they don't look at I want to get this fantasy quarterback or this fantasy running back. But you got to realize whenever somebody's in Conference USA and they're, going to be going against weak teams every year, they have more of an upside a lot of times than somebody that's a superstar in the SEC, just because all the teams are going up against all year, So.
Oh yeah, and it's something I did this year. I think in the first couple of years, I just did Power 5 conferences in the fantasy because we didn't have, 16, 14 teams, whatever we got this year. You know what I mean? So I wanted a more vast array of players and also guys, football fans like me, that on Thursday night, whenever they're playing, you know what I mean, or Friday night, there's interest, fantasy interest in these games, like some different kind of games to watch. And some of these plays are really good. And you see in the NFL, there's a bunch of Alabama players, but there's also a lot of these random schools, and I'm excited. Sorry, I know I've talked enough about fantasy, but it's real exciting because we've just seen, I think that's just kind of a projection on the trajectory of this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then, uh, you know, I don't know. It's it's just it's a great time. It's a great time. So if you hadn't got to play yet, you should take the opportunity to sign up for it next year and play. Whoever wins always gets uh, some sort of apparel item
Oh,
from the Hog
yeah.
Call Podcast, and
And this year we took Rich. Oh, I'm sorry, Chad, to interrupt you, but
no, go
I
ahead.
was so excited to tell everybody. We took Rich out for fishing a couple weekends ago. So that's another reward.
Took him out in the boat.
I'm sorry, Chad. I interrupted you. I was just excited.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad you mentioned
Sorry.
that. And I think you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You might go on a trout trip with us. We might take you up to one of our hot spots. Might take you up to we might take you to a little crappie spot or something and surprise you out on the Beaver Lake somewhere. We got a lot of spots where we do a lot of fishing, and there's an opportunity for everybody to be able to do that.
Especially, sorry, yeah, especially with this, like the increased amount of teams. Yeah, there's definitely seems like the prize is gonna kind of kick up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, but if there's a lot of interest, and guys, if I have to split the league, there's so many college football teams and things. So if I have to split the league off into 4 divisions and have 24 teams total, we can do that. So please give us, if you weren't able to get in this year, give us feedback and we'll increase it to the school.
So there's something that we started doing a while back that we enjoy doing, and I guess it's that time of the podcast where we need to do that, and it's going to be to make some picks. I think the first thing we need to do is we need to run through the Arkansas Razorback schedule. We need to do a quick pick of what we think the full year is going to be like. We hit it nail on the head last year, almost perfect. I think there were like 2 games you could flip around that we didn't have. And a matter of fact, one of us might have picked one, and one of us might have picked the other. So I think one way or the other, we wound up getting it. But our predictions are usually pretty good. So it's time to do that. So and then do we want to do any game predictions this year again? Do we want to do that where we did the?
I mean, as long as after I think
It's up to you.
we maybe tied through the couple years picking, so I don't see. I mean, as long as you had fun,
I'm
if you had
having
fun
fun with it.
picking,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
will. I will.
I like winning and things.
Well, yeah, it is your turn this year. I beat you last year. Good, but that's good. It's a whole new year.
I think I beat you pretty good one year too.
The year before, I think you smoked me pretty good. So it's back and forth. So that's what I'm saying. I'm probably in the 4 years we've played, we've probably led, or you may actually have the lead. I won last year, something like maybe I won one of those 3 years, but
I don't know. It's just fun to do.
yeah.
All right, so I'll run through my Arkansas picks here. I think Arkansas Cincinnati is a win. I think Arkansas beats Cincinnati. I'm going to say 24-14 on that one. Then we're going to play South Carolina. I think Arkansas beats South Carolina. I think we'll be, pretty hyped up after beating Cincinnati. I think we're probably, I'd say Arkansas 21, South Carolina 7. Missouri State, it's going to be a big win for us. It's probably going to be like a 32-3 game. Texas A&M. Can we beat Texas A&M? This is a game that scares me. This is a game where you have a lot of really good players. Of course, they're young, right? So you got a lot of really good young players. I'm gonna say Texas A&M. We take our first loss at Texas A&M of the year. I think it's going to be probably a 14-7 game, low scoring game, and they mess around and beat us. I feel like they got a really good team this year. It's going to be really hard to beat them. I do think Alabama's dropped off this year for whatever that looks like. They come into Fayetteville. I think you've had a great year. You've won every game except for the Texas A&M game, and this the year you beat Alabama. I'm gonna say that's gonna be 28 to 27 Arkansas. Squeak out the win uh, at Arkansas against Bama. Then I think Mississippi State, we just handled them. Uh, that's going to be an easier game for us. I'd say 28 7. BYU, I think that's one of them games where you just really take advantage. Probably 34-10. Let's say 34-10 against BYU. I mean, they do got a pretty decent team, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to beat us. I think we go in Auburn. I think we handle business there. I don't think Harson's got it where he needs to be. I think you're looking at a Arkansas, 14, Auburn 7. And then Liberty, it's another one of them games. I think you win it handily. I'll say that's probably going to be another 34 point game. Maybe Liberty puts up maybe 3 points on us, so we'll give them 3. LSU, I think we hold the boot. I think we keep it this year. I don't think they're going to be a team that I don't know. We'll see. In the year, might be a totally different story, but I think we beat LSU this year also. So we'll do 28-7. Well, 28-14. We're going to do 28-14. We're at LSU. It's down in Death Valley. It's going to be a tougher game. So 28-14. Then we play Mississippi, Ole Miss. And I think that, I don't know. I think you could drop one there. So I'm gonna say we're gonna drop the Ole Miss game this year. I think that'll probably be like a 28-14 game where you just I don't know, but it's two weird games that I think we're gonna drop at A&M and in Mississippi. It was just a gut feeling that I have that those are the two, and then I think after that you go and you just destroy Missouri, 42-10, because you're just pissed off about the whole Mississippi thing. Is there a chance we win every game and we go all the way this year? We beat Texas A&M and we beat Mississippi. Yeah, absolutely. I think we do have an opportunity to go and win a national championship this year. I think you win out, you win every game. Obviously, you can do that. If with the 2 losses, do we have a chance to play in the national championship game? Maybe you're in the playoffs, right? You might be with a 2-loss team, but my prediction is going to be 2 losses. Yeah.
All right, you got me fired up, man. I'm pretty happy with seeing us with 2 like a 10-2 season. All right, I'm going to go through Cincinnati. Yeah, I just think we come out and win 31-21. We beat South Carolina. Beamer, Shane Beamer, who's over there in his second year. I think he's doing good things for what South Carolina football is. I think we win that one. 11 a.m. game, but I think we just run all over them. I think we're going to win 45-17. I know it's kind of a blowout prediction for the SEC, but that's how I feel. Missouri State, I probably should say that 45-17 prediction for this one. But I think I'm on Arkansas. Petrino comes back. night game. Razorback Stadium's going to be raucous. Tearing of emotions between, man, those were some fun, awesome years, and also, wow, what happened in the years after that from the aftermath of his some decisions he made. So, but I'll go Arkansas 52. Gotta say he scores. I gotta give him 23 here in this game. Arkansas, man. I think I'm going to do the same thing. I don't know if I don't want it because this podcast here in a couple of weeks we lose to A&M. We're 3-1. We're like, man, what the heck? But I just think after last year, you know what I mean. I think A&M's going to have a solid club, a lot of expectations. I think they might. It's going to be a hard fought game, but I think we do drop it to A&M here. That's okay. Okay on neutral side because the next week, Chad, I'm with you, man. This is it. We beat Bama in Fayetteville. What a crazy game this is going to be. Then I can't go away from. I can't predict the Pirate to beat us. Oh, it was Bama. I'm sorry, 28-24. In that win. Man, it's just gonna be tough. But it just seems like we were talking about earlier. It's gonna be a tough game. But we played our butts off last year in Tuscaloosa for a team that was a national championship runners-up. Excuse me. Should not drink for those non-video watchers. I should not drink a beer while talking mid-sentence. Mississippi State. I think we win too. I'm going to go 27-24. Weird, just trying to find what we can that week after beating Alabama at home, having to go to Starkville. Keep our championship hopes alive with that, but also just what an emotional week that was to beat Bama. But I think we squeak one out there. BYU, I think the kind of the same thing. I think we're riding. We've played 1, 2, 3, 7. This will be the 8th straight week we've played without a bye week. I think the altitude maybe plays a little bit, but we do beat BYU. Still a solid program, but they're not going to be one of their. At least for now, things could change by week 7 or week 8 or whatever. But right now, at least we don't know on paper that they just got an NFL quarterback with them. So I'm going to go 31-28 here. Auburn, yeah, definitely beating Auburn. Last year, that's one of those games. It's not like the Ole Miss game where we're like, well, just make the 2-point, we win. Auburn, we got smacked around, but absolutely no reason for it. Wasn't a good Auburn team. Parsons, the coach. And we lost that one at home, which we could have had a 10-win season just to beat a team we were better than. So we definitely go out. I'm going to go weird third score, 32-22 at Auburn. Liberty, we smacked Liberty around. Hugh Freeze and those weirdos. I'm going to go 69-0 there. LSU, I think we win at home. Brian Kelly's first year, maybe a little bit higher score than last year. We'll go 27-14 over LSU. Ole Miss, gotta say we win at home after last year's 1-point loss. I say we win this one. We're gonna win this one 52-51. Turn around the score on them. Actually, you know what? 52-48. Let's not make it that much of a heart attack.
Nice.
And then Mizzou, of course, we win. That's gonna be a weird one. 19-9. Just trying to get to the SEC championship against Georgia. That'd be sweet if Kentucky came on this year. Tennessee, somebody different.
1-11. Or 11-1. One loss.
Yeah, I could see us losing another one. I mean, hell, last year,
Oh yeah.
Auburn, Ole Miss. You
I
never
mean,
know. We
I agree with that.
lose the
I
other two.
agree with it. I agree with it. I had a hard time saying we're gonna miss the Ole Miss too. I don't know. I just felt like the law of averages might catch up with us many times if we beat them, and you know, and
But
they got that drunken, frat boy kicker that they got out of the party.
that's true.
So
That's true. Yeah.
when you're doing crazy stuff like that, you never know.
They are place and corral. I got Dart, Old Jackson Dart. Perfect Oxford named quarterback. So we'll see. I mean, I'm thinking that one for after last year's loss and then coming to Fayetteville, I figure we win. But I mean, I could see us drop. I don't. We're not going to lose to Liberty, Mississippi State. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a weird. It could just. I don't know. I'm glad DY's used. Yeah, sorry.
I think it's important that everybody knows all these picks are subject to change.
Yeah.
As the weeks go on, right? Like this is our initial thoughts. This is our initial guesses of what we think everything's gonna look like. I think 11-1, 10-2, hell of a predictions, and some folks out there in the media I said, oh, the fans have. Expectations are too high. I read a story the other day that's talking about that and so on and so forth. And you know what? Just go to hell. All right? We are the fans, and this is our damn expectations. And if you think they're too high, I don't know. Maybe you should be a better fan. Maybe you should be a better homer. It was a homer that wrote the story. I know a good person, like a friend of mine, but at the same damn time, how are you going to say something like that? Expectations are too high. You're getting back great running backs. You're getting back a plethora of wide receivers. You're getting a hell of an offensive line. You're getting a quarterback that could win a Heisman Trophy this year. And you're running around talking about expectations are too high. All right, maybe next year, whenever we're rebuilding, then we can talk about expectations being too high. But this is a year, man. This is the year we've rebuilt. We got depth. We've got everything where we've been wanting it for a very long time. We got a coach that's been pushing us forward. He's been doing better every single year. It's the next logical step. A 10-2, 11-1 season is the next logical step in Coach Pittman's progression. Honestly, I don't think it's too high of expectations. I think it might be too low of expectations. I think we should have been talking about a national championship the whole time, going undefeated.
Yeah, the thing about losing to A&M, it's like, really, when we're 3-0, Chad, neither one of us are going to predict we're going to lose to A&M. But you feel like we got to put some losses on there to try to be somewhat subjective. I don't know. But this is going back what you're saying. This is not the year to temper the expectations because the player interviews we've heard, this is the next step for the program. Third year. Like, you're going to tell them, oh, guys, it's okay if you just go 8-4. Oh, I mean, where do we go from 9-3?
Mm-hmm.
10-2 or better. Like, obviously, in this era, we haven't won a lot, but this is, sorry, Chad. We're both excited.
You're right. If we do win a 10-2, we do have 11-1 season, right? If we do have one of those seasons, like you said, next year, you're going to be like, why are y'all so hyped up? How come y'all think we're going to win something next year? Well, did you see who we took off the portal? Did you see the transfers we got? Did you see the, people we brought in? Like, the amount of recruiting that this 11-1 season got us, that, having that one loss and going to the championship game, winning it all, winning that natty last year. Of course, we're predicting us to win every game this year, So, I don't know. While I say next year's a rebuilding year, if we have a hell of a year like we're talking about, it might not be a rebuilding year.
Yeah, like I mean, the recruiting's already been off to. I think we've got like even for next year, like really good. It's like one of probably like moving up, like his best recruiting class, our best recruiting class in a while, and that's not just some used car salesman trying to get excitement into the program. If the last coach or whatever, it is legitimately like because well we're winning. You can see where we're going. It's also we had so many bad years. We've had enough. We had just decade of people talking just smack, talking shit all over the place. How bad we are. Okay, yeah, it's not like in the history of Razorback football, Razorback athletics. Like how many times like a 10-year span. Is that this doesn't seem like it's going to happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Seems an anomaly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
More so than like a trend. Like, yeah, well, that's just it for Razorback football. Really, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just it for never going to compete. in the SEC, and it's proven right now. It's like that's all. I mean, like a guy like Pittman can come in,
Mm-hmm.
just get somebody competent, make the right hire, and this program will take care of itself. Like, you know what I mean? Like the program, the fan base, the history, everything, just about it. Will take care of itself, and we'll get a chance to do this. That's where
I
it's
got
at.
got to give Pittman kudos to not just how well he's done with his players, right? You don't hear about guys getting in trouble. You don't hear about people out drinking and driving or getting busted down on Dixon all the time. You don't hear about a lot of these issues that you tend to hear about, in these heirs and coaches that had, so much trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then on top of that, his assistant coaches, his coordinators, they're not going anywhere. They're not trying to leave. They
Yeah.
they like it where they're at. They like the culture. They're aiming to build something special. And when you got everybody on a football team focused towards doing something special, special things start to happen. And that's the thing I think that a lot of people underestimate or overlook about Pittman is he has people who are underdogs, who have been underdogs, who have something to prove. They all have a damn chip on their shoulder. The
Mm-hmm.
University of Arkansas has a chip on its shoulder. Uh, the students have a chip on their shoulder, and he has been